when you hear about this flood, I was about to say Florida. When you hear about this flood in Texas, and you hear how dramatic it was, and how, not dramatic, how drastic it was, and how they got like 20 feet of rain in like 4 hours or some shit, bro. That's insane. No, that's insane death, bro. Like, just for context, for me personally, like the deepest pool in the area close to my house where I grew up, my mom's house, the deepest pool in the area was 12 feet. And I used to, when I finally got a little bit older from when I first learned to swim, I wouldn't go down to that. Then over time, you start to, go down to the deeper ends. And then over time, you start to want to go to the bottom of that shit. Like, if you know how to swim, at some point in your mind, you'll be like, man, I want to see how deep I can go. And, you might go down like 8 feet. And that shit start hurting, and you gonna turn around. But then over time, the next year, you might go deeper next year. So, like, growing up and having a 12-foot pool that I used to swim in and try to go down and sit down, and finally got to that point where I could actually just sit there for however long I used to be able to hold my breath before I knew it was like, okay, it's time for me to start going back up. Like, for them to hear they got 20 feet, bro, it's crazy to me. To hear some kind of flood and rain pour down, you know how heavy that rain pour, like, that is otherworldly, bro. That's like only like God can do that, bro. That's like a godly event. Like, Mother Nature and God can only two things that can do that. And it's like, damn, like, why did that happen? But then you think about later on, like today I'm listening to bruh's show, and he said how allegedly there's a rumor that there's the kids at this camp were of elitist children, like, right, like that's where they send their kids. And then people blame Trump for some people, stupid people, just try to blame Trump because it's because of the cuts and job cuts or whatever they trying to say that he did, and that caused the fucking flood. Like, it's like, come on. But it put me, like, when they brought up Trump, I thought about how Trump technically is an elitist, right? Like, he's a billionaire, like, he's technically elite. And he might not be in their club, but, either way, he's still an elitist, bro. But it just made me think about how God saved Trump's life, but God did not save the lives of these kids. It just makes you wonder, like, damn, whose parents are these, and what are they doing?